Yeah, I was listening to it. I was like, what is that? What is happening?
Yeah, I know my feed my dog alarm is gonna go off.
Welcome to the Neighborhood Pulse. The Neighborhood Pulse is, that show about real estate here, 21.6 the net. Wherever you are in life, you never forget the neighborhood. This is the show that talks all about real estate. Hear it from the industry professionals. Join host Kevin Callback from Realty Executive Cornerstones and Eddie Martinez from MSB to learn what the Neighborhood Pulse is. Of course, today, everything is better through a good lens, right? And that's the bottom line. Today we've got the owner, and let me just throw this up here. We've got the owner of K Adams Photo with an F. You can go. I'll log that. I'll log that in there in the comments. But it's what it's all about: looking through life through a different lens.
Amen.
Yes, yes.
That's it. So thanks for
Welcome.
coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Glad you found the place.
Yes, me too.
Right.
Me too. Lived here my whole life. I figured it would probably be easy, but
That's
I'm not good with
Always a
directions.
challenge.
So.
That's it. So you've been doing photography since for a minute now.
Yeah,
And
11 years. Yeah,
11
years.
Wow.
So professionally, I took my business full time a year and a half ago. So
Year and a half. So your brand kind of new. It's during COVID.
Yes.
So you went live.
So,
into
I mean,
COVID.
obviously, like I was full time before, but like quit my
Your
other
own
jobs
business,
and
like-
actually got a studio in October.
Yes,
So that's been great. And so it's been nice to have,
Yeah.
a little hub now. So.
Right. Was that a little scary to start off? Was it kind of like deep breath, ready, run?
It's actually funny. It was kind of a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Ryan Conway is my landlord, and
He's
we
awesome.
golf together. So he's like, "What do you need a place?" And I'm like, "Maybe, I don't know." And then I went in and I was like, "Oh, this is cute. It's local to the Riverwalk, which I take a lot of pictures at." So
Sure.
it worked out, and it was just it's been great ever since.
That's
so.
it. That's it. I'll tell you, it's amazing what a photographer can do.
Yes.
Yes.
I got a headshot, and the photographer got some new lights, and they were circles. And you can see it on my car actually. And I have like robot eyes with these circles. And I says, "Hey," I have robot eyes. She goes, "Oh, that's the way it's supposed to be." I says, "Oh, okay." That's not supposed to be like.
Call Kevin.
It's
Call
like,
back.
dang it. That's right.
Oh, that's crazy.
We work like we're a machine, but no.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Are you talking like ring light? Maybe
Ring light.
Yeah,
No, it's a
got
circle.
it.
Yeah, big old
yeah.
circles. I was like, oof.
Yeah.
But
If
yeah.
you wear glasses, those are not your favorite friends.
Those
for
are
sure.
tough.
Yeah.
Those are tough, right? So how'd you get started? Photography is something that a lot of people like to take pictures, but to go full time and be a professional at it, when did you get started? What got you in the business?
So we traveled a lot as kids. My family always went around and stuff, and so it was kind of nice. And I actually became really good friends with a girl I had met, and she was a photographer, and she was like, you can make this a career. And I'm like, oh, okay, well. I didn't think about it. And so she got me to sign up for a photo contest through the Moraine Hills State Park. And I won second place and I got front page of the Northwest Herald.
Ooh.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll make this a career. And
Right.
so kind of worked out. And I really wanted to do take pictures for communities. Well, I wanted to travel, honestly.
Sure.
So I wanted to do go and document like nature parks and different places like that. But to live in a hut in the middle of a forest, really, I like to camp, but it's a little bit different. I like to talk to people and
That's
not
right.
just nobody in the air. So basically I ended up donating my time and submitting to photo contests and things throughout McHenry County. And I fell in line with Naturally McHenry County, the Chamber, the City of McHenry. And so now I basically do what I love, but and what I wanted to do, which was document the area, just
Sure.
on a different aspect than, through nature and through traveling. So
Right. Wow,
yeah.
that's crazy. That's something. So
Not the gossips or politics.
Yeah.
So who do you have to thank for getting you started? Is there anybody
Um,
you're like, thanks for inspiring me?
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin,
Well, I definitely have said that the chamber has been a great thing to be a part of, but
absolutely.
naturally McHenry County has been one of my biggest partners, and they promote me a lot. God, there's so many people that I could probably name, but
forget, right?
Yeah, Danielle Fiali, that's my girl. So
That's
she got me started with it all, and I mean, I wouldn't be here without my family, so my mom and stuff. More so my mom and my sisters and my niece. But I could probably sit here for an hour and thank a million people.
So at family events, are they like, hey, take some pictures?
Oh, everybody does. I dated this guy, and like first family visit that I met with him, he was like, his family's like, bring your camera. And I'm like, really? All right.
We're going to put you to work.
So they put me to work right away. And I ended up photoshopping his face on every person in the family. And that was the picture I gave them as like, well, if you're going to make me do your pictures, here you go. And so it was a good like opening to the relationship and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun. Yeah.
So I think, I'll take pictures. I think I can take great pictures, but then I'll look at them, they're blurry or they're off centered. So a question is like, how long do you think it takes for you to consider yourself a professional where you're taking quality pictures, people are reaching out to you, word of mouth, obviously it's very powerful.
So I think I went to college for photography, and not that I don't think I gained a lot from that. I think really being in the real world and just having that personal experience, failing honestly is key. I think to really knowing stuff. I didn't really know a lot about lighting at first, and you kind of just, as you go, you learn. And I think I wouldn't say that you're ever 100% when it comes to photography, because there's always different things. But I think one thing that has helped me and be more successful is the variety of photos that I take allows me to have a better understanding of photography, because I photograph glass sometimes when I do product or animals. So you got to have quick shutter speeds, or sports, or, homes. It's really not the easiest to photograph a house if you don't have like a wide angle lens or opportunities to where you can get the whole picture when it comes to stuff. So
I'll look at for example, I'll look at a few homes here and there, and there's maybe 10, 15 pictures that you can slide through, but then you can't really see anything. They're zoomed in way too much in, or they're at an angle where it doesn't really show the full room. So I'm guessing that's where a lot of experience and some, courses helps with deciding what lens to use or what distance.
Yeah. And a big thing this year, or I would say the last couple of years, is a lot of people have been doing drone, incorporating a lot of video and stuff. And I think that's also very helpful, because when you look at a picture, there's obviously 4 walls to a room, or maybe more or less. I don't know.
Trying to go home.
Depends on the house you're going to, but and you can't really see all that. So drone kind of helps with people being able to see those corners that you might not see, but using a wide angle lens is very helpful too, because it allows you to get the whole room versus other lenses that just kind of hone you in on a certain, aspect, basically.
In real estate, we see some pictures in the fridge. Looks like it's like 6 feet wide. And you're like, dang. You're like, well, hold on a second. It's not done properly.
And
is that a wide lens they used, or is that they stretched it?
Sometimes like fisheyes will do a lot of that. And then you'll notice a lot of like higher quality photos that are taken at homes. They do something called HDR, or it's a process similar to that, where they basically kind of make everything look really 3D dimensional. And that is something that kind of just helps give the life aspect. But there's a lot of post-process, I'm sure, that comes to a lot of things, as well as, if you are photographing on a gloomy day, nobody wants to see that outside a lovely living room window. So adding those things after the fact in Photoshop, things that you can't control, that maybe you don't want in the pictures, that are going to be fixed or change, you'll give some TLC on the back end. So there's a little bit of post process that takes place with a lot of photography, not only in real estate, but in general, especially with business headshots. Like everybody has bags under their eyes. You might come in with a blemish, people need a little bit of love here sometimes. So I think a little bit of editing really goes a long way. And to be truthful, there's a lot of photographers out there that don't do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then some that are really well versed. And I can say for myself, I interned for a gentleman in Crystal Lake, Downtown Photo Pro. His name's Jim. Great guy if you're looking for like framing options. But he's really big photographer when it comes to like post process and changing. And so he taught me a lot about Photoshop. So I think it's helpful to have a little bit of editing knowledge when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's when we get our photos, they have a blue sky guarantee. So whether it's rain and snow and whatever the case is, you're getting blue sky. The fireplace has a little fire in it. They're like, well, the fireplace was on. I'm like,
And they make a lot of that easy nowadays, like with some of the new like programs you can use. But like Lightroom is a big thing for photographers right now. And I learned a little bit of that when I was in college and growing up. And I'm actually learning a lot about that over the last 2 years. I've used it. I never used it before. I never used those programs for color and correction. So
that's through Adobe, right?
That's through Adobe. Yeah.
I've tinkered with that, but I get lost. I'm like, I don't know. I don't call the pros because I can't do
Sometimes you just leave it to the people that know what they're doing. And you know, you can try, but I mean,
that's my biggest recommendation is leave it to the pros.
How often is technology changing? Do you have to update your material often or?
So yes and no. I think the one thing that kind of sucks with technology right now is that if like Mac comes out with an update and Adobe isn't on the same page, you find a lot of issues.
Right.
For a couple months, I was going through problems where I would be batch editing, which is like you take like 1,000 photos and you go through and kind of clean them up and, you know, throw away the bad ones. You go through that and the program would crash on you and you'd lose everything that you worked on. And I mean, some nights I do a lot of events. And so getting those photos out to customers and then it crashes, you're like, man, I just sat here for 4 hours. This sucks. So having like the technology be on the same page is really important. And I know that, you know, industries are trying to do that, but it's just so hard when they're not the same company working on the same thing together. So
what do you think, Mac or PC? The big battle out there.
I'm a Mac girl.
You're a Mac girl,
yeah. I mean, you know, PCs aren't bad. You know, I'm not going to down them. Just like actually the big conversation with photography is, are you Canon or are you Nikon?
Oh,
or are you one of the cool ones that does like, you know, the other ones that I don't know the names of. But I actually got to learn on both, which is nice. And they both have their pros and cons, I think. But once you stick with the one, that's what you stay with. And so one thing that kind of sucks is that if you are a Nikon person and you're trying to find a job and that job like gives you equipment, but it's only Canon, it's like you should really try to learn both so that you're not subjected to a job that way because of that.
What do you shoot with?
I shoot Canon.
Oh, hell.
There you go.
Yep, I'm a Canon girl. Canon, if you're listening, no.
That's right. Please.
I like free stuff. No.
That's right. Well, and with that, I mean, but you say that, but you are a, what do they call them now? An online...
like an influencer?
Influencer. That's what I was looking for.
I mean, I'm kind of there. I'll give myself a little bit of credit. I definitely do a little bit.
I just added you on TikTok. I never had one, so
there you go.
There you go.
I do. I follow her all the time.
Too.
Yeah. I'm not the best at TikTok, but I'm definitely better than some. I'll give myself good credit for that.
That's right.
All your likes were in the triple digits.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Beats our 12. So
yeah.
That's kind of crazy. So does Nikon or Canon, one of them has a glass lens, right? Is it?
So both do. That's like, it's called mirrorless. So it's just like the type of camera you buy. So some can be mirrored and then some are mirrorless. So it just depends on like what money you're looking to spend, what you're trying to get. A lot of mirrorless are full frame. So that's another thing. A lot of cameras crop. So you come into that when it comes to photography too, on the side of lenses, that it crops how much you can see. So full frame helps with that.
That's it.
So you don't have
we
to
had a headshot, and when I got my headshot, the photographers I got on a ladder. She's like, you know, kind of look up, you know, kind of so it glues the, you know, a little bit of something there. And so I look up, she's a little further. I'm like, all right, can't get it. Photoshop's gonna have to happen here. That's it.
I always tell people protrude their like forehead. So sometimes like you feel really dumb when you do it, but it elongates the neck. So now next time you're gonna take your picture, you're gonna find yourself forcing your forehead
Being
out.
like a turtle.
Exactly.
Are you seeing a lot more requests this year to do headshots for like professionals? Or
Yeah,
I think I've seen a jump in that in people's profiles that are updating their picture.
Yeah, so since COVID, I mean, I might be finagling. One thing you guys should know, I exaggerate a little, but to actually get back to that, I probably have taken about maybe 250 headshots in the last 2 years.
That's a lot.
When you go online, everybody wants to see who you are, and some people have had pictures since like high school, college. Bill Collingborn, I'm going to give him a shout out because he always gives me good credit for making him look good. But you know, it's always nice to update your headshot. I would definitely say maybe twice a year.
I was going to tell you, like, how often should anyone professional out there, whether you're a lender, a realtor, any profession, how often should they update their picture?
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Of course, that can only mean one thing. It's time for Martinez's Mortgage Minute.
Thank you. I was trying to get her to do the chant.
I don't know. I don't watch Black Ops.
So for today, you know, something I just want to bring out is really, you know, despite what the market's saying, rates are on the rise. The average 30-year mortgage right now is almost 4%. Inventory is low. You know, everything going on with inflation and whatnot. You know, invest in you. Any first-time home buyer, any buyer that's really looking to just upgrade their lifestyle from where they're at now to something better, invest in you. Don't get discouraged. Reach out to professional help always before just jumping to the gun. Reach out to professionals like Kevin Callback or me as a lender to get advice to see what you can qualify for, see what is out there. Despite, you know, what they're saying out there, is always invest in you. Think about you first. Make 2022 a new year and a better year for you. And Absolutely. That's my mortgage minute.
Yeah, I like that.
So if you're looking to get a hold of me, my name is Eddie Martinez, MLS 437138. You can reach me at 815-331-6428.
Beautiful. Awesome. Kevin, if somebody wants to list a house, buy a house, how do they get in touch with you?
Give us a call, 708-277-3913, or call kevink@gmail.com.
There you go. And of course, if you're looking for a great photographer, you're going to want to reach out to our guest here. How do they get in touch with you, Kels?
You can either give me a call, 815-276-9272. You can reach out via email, or my website is www.kadamsphoto.com, and that's FOTO.
And that is just the K, the letter K,
yes.
Adams, ADAMS, photo, FOTO.com. If I want to go, we're doing it out there, which is awesome. So yeah, thanks for that. And you do photography.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
Awesome. Use a camera for that, or
we do.
Your cell phone?
Yeah.
I'm also really versed in graphic design too. I'm just gonna give I'm really good with Photoshop. I do a lot of projects where like people will be like, "Can you photograph my head on like a sexy body?" I'm like, I got you. So
God did that for me. Anyway, here we go. Hey, we do have, and Anna, good afternoon, has a question. How do houses, and this may be to Kevin or Kelsey, if you know as well, how do houses taken by a professional sell versus one taken with a cell phone?
I think, this is my opinion.
Yep.
If you are listing your home or property, and we went to a listing appointment the other day for a 3-flat, and we're looking through the comps, and the comps were cell phones, I think that you should fire them on the spot.
Agreed.
I think you should be like, you're out. See you later. And cancel your listing. That's my personal opinion. It's not the opinion of anybody else.
Yeah, well, Michael, thanks for Michael Ronquillo says a professional knows how to find the right angle. Their camera has better resolution for better marketing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the resolution, it's like the big thing, you know, phone isn't terrible and they've updated it a lot and stuff.
What is going on? It's first show, Eddie?
No. Thanks for joining us.
But with a phone, it's still low quality, and the lighting and just the look of it is just so much different. I mean, if you've ever gone on any website when you're looking at houses and you see pictures professional and not, I mean, you right there, even in your own, can just see the difference and what it is. It's like going to a luxurious beach or going to your local beach.
Wow. Why are the shores of the Fox River not luxurious? That's what I want to know.
Why is the water green?
Yeah.
You know.
It does have that baby poop color kind of.
Cold maker.
There's been times, and we've all been in those homes, either open houses or showing homes and such, where you walk in and you go, wow, this does not look like the pictures.
No.
But
Yeah.
Pictures were
those are
either
great
much-
questions, because that's to the point where I was asking is a better camera better? How often does that need to be updated to show the quality of the home that you're looking to sell or even buy?
And I think it really also goes hand in hand with who you're talking to as your home buyer. As a photographer, when I come in and I'm like, there's some things I just can't fix. If you're an ugly person, I can do my best, but you know what I mean? Or if your house is broken,
Just so you know, there are no ugly people out there. We're all beautiful.
Oh yeah, sorry, everyone.
You're all beautiful.
One way
But
or another.
Just remember that the thoughts and opinions are expressed on this show are not those of 2160.
I was told beauty was on the inside.
yeah, there we go. There
And
we
you have
go.
a great
See,
personality.
that's what I was hoping for. I was trying to
We're
make
off the
sure you
rails.
guys were on the right page. But really, there's a lot of things that we don't want to cover up and we don't want to Photoshop, because then you're going to get your house and be
Right.
like, what the heck? There's this giant crack in the wall.
Right.
Why wasn't that in the photo?
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
you really have to know where to take the line.
So
And
that boundary, right?
yeah, there's, add a little bit of love, but don't take away things that are necessary to be shown, because it's a big investment. A
Right.
house is a
It's
big
huge,
investment.
yeah.
And so I would be mad if there was a crack in a window and I didn't know about it because someone took it out. So
Or just crack.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And realtors are trained for that too. We go through classes and such, and they show some pictures that it looks like a waterfront property, but the guy was by the pool and he took a picture of the pool water in the house. So it looked like, wow, waterfront. And boy, yeah, they got in trouble.
yeah,
So
yeah. There's a lot of things that can skew perspective.
Right,
And,
yeah.
we look at celebrities nowadays and
Yeah.
it's a lot of post-process and stuff
Oh,
yeah, they're
gosh.
good looking, but so it's a lot of things like that when you want to be real, don't go overboard when it
Right.
comes to it.
And you have to show the house for real. You can't take the electric lines out in the backyard and
Yes.
stuff like that. So we're very realistic, but we can make them look good.
Yeah. And when I do family photos and things like that, if there's a plug on the wall or something plugged in, those are things that I take out because
Right.
they negatively impact it. But for a house, you don't take those things out because I'm looking how many plugs are in this room. I got a lot of things I got to plug in, so
Mhm.
you want to see those things.
Mhm. Absolutely. Who is the actress?
Betty
Julie
White.
Roberts. She had come out and said, hey, she was on a magazine and she said, hey, this is what I really like. And she showed her without Photoshop and stuff. And people were like, whoa,
Yeah.
a lot different, right?
Well, I mean,
And-
we were talking TikTok. I mean, to get back to people in a way, there's some people that I'm like, wow, you're really
bold.
you got me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh.
Ken's during break.
Yeah, right.
Watching.
No, I do. I'm a TikTokaholic.
Yeah.
I will spend hours watching.
Same.
Really?
I wasn't at first, and now I'm into it. And it's like, I'll look at the clock and it's 8, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. and I'm like,
Oh.
ooh,
Oh,
I'm like,
it's so fast.
I'm not tired.
That's right.
and now if I'm not, I find now this is when you know that you're a TikTok addict, when the 3-minute videos are too long.
oh yeah, yeah.
Because I'll be like, I'll get through a minute and a half or something. I'm like, God, guys, just move to the next one. This is ridiculous.
But what's nice, and I think TikTok has kind of gotten a bad rep as a younger thing and too funny videos and stuff. But there's a lot of benefits. A lot of the videos that you'll find on my page are actually at photo shoots or behind the scenes of me taking a picture and then what the final picture looks like. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of good that comes from it for businesses. I work with Black Orchid Boutique in McHenry,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do a couple of her clothing ones, and we did one yesterday.
Okay.
And I mean, just the number of people that have gone into her store, looked at her page now, it's,
Great
there's
store
a lot of
right
benefits.
down on Green Street, everybody. Right down on Green Street.
She would be another one I'd give a shout out to.
Go ahead,
She's,
give a shout out.
I love you, Carol and Vicky. Thank you.
I have a shout out. Happy
What's up?
birthday to Don Bremer.
Oh yeah, happy birthday,
Happy
Don.
birthday to you.
Dawn,
Speaking
she's
speaking of
actually in the air right
birthdays-
now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's heading down to Florida.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lucky
that's
her.
nice. Oh yeah, that's
Well,
right.
Speaking of birthdays, mine's March 20th. I celebrate all month of March.
Oh,
I
Nice.
accept
Good.
presents every
That's
day.
right.
I mean, just I just
we'll
thought I'd
start in March.
Listen,
You
it'll
can mail them
start.
to
It'll start
21/6
actually
tonight.
on the 17th, right? That's St. Patrick's Day,
Yes.
and then you just roll from there.
basically.
It
basically.
becomes
She
yeah.
wants to
People
take the
have
whole month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but I definitely am a big birthday person. If you know me, There's a countdown already. So
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh, there you go.
I'm just
That sounds-
if you get rid of the birthday, I'm that.
yeah.
I'm just a big person.
So in all of our shows, we get a lot of professionals here, and we always ask them a very important question: is obviously what made you interested in that field, but what advice would you give to someone that's looking to get into photography for any field or any expertise? What would you recommend? What's your take on that, on how to get started?
So, and it's actually been something that I've been talking about a lot over the last couple of weeks is really make friends, networking, but in a way that you're really getting to know someone, I think is important. I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't go out and actually talk to people, meet people, offer up my services for cheaper than I do, or, trade off or do things, and then kind of actually like learn about people. And I think, that one thing is if you think about your top 5 customers that you wish that you could have, you don't have them because they have a better relationship with someone else. So I think actually meeting people and taking the time to know somebody is really pivotal for a lot of industries because relationships are key. It's all about who you know. And for an instance, I follow this guy on Instagram. I'm big on Instagram. I love his stuff. He's a really good video producer, and his photographer got sick, and I got to take headshots for all the Chicago Bulls. And so if it wasn't for me commenting on his stuff, being engaged, giving compliments, I'd never have had that experience. And so, I mean, you can see if you pull up my page.
Yeah, I saw D Rose earlier.
Yeah, it was oh my gosh, I was on ESPN. It was crazy. It was pretty fun.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I think it's really about who you know to be able to get those cool experiences that really help make your business better.
And like you said, that's every business. You have to have some skills too.
Yes.
But to get started, you got to have those relationships.
Yeah.
And outside of the relationship, obviously the talent, he saw your stuff.
Yeah.
He was
Comfortable and
calling you, hey, the Bulls.
Yeah.
Like,
He didn't
that's
think I was
great.
just some normal photographer. Like I obviously stood out in a way. So I'm glad that it happened, and it was a really good experience for me. And I think when you get in those situations too, where they're like a little bit more pressuresome, knowing like this is the Chicago Bulls, you really think about the things that you have. My lighting was terrible, like the equipment I used. So I actually bought brand new equipment, and so
Like
it
the
really
day
makes,
before, right? Or something.
and it makes a difference. And I went broke for a little bit when it came to that, but it twofold. It made, I could buy more now because of the reason I bought it. So
And then outside the experience, it was a great investment.
it was good, very good investment. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And cameras are not cheap. They're,
No.
they're not given out at the store. They're like, hey, like Kodak back in the day. Is Kodak still a thing? I don't know.
Cheapo people out there that want all their photo shoots for free or for a low cost. The one thing I know a lot of photographers look at is when they're like, we're looking for someone value priced, someone like that's got a good price budget. Well, as a whole, there's a lot that goes into equipment, and
How ugly do you want?
there's a really good
$5
graphic.
package.
There's a good graphic. It's
kidding.
like a guy who's like, do you want a painting or do you want this? And it's a guy on like a luxurious horse. And then the guy wanted a lower budget price. And it's literally a stick figure of a guy sitting on a horse. So it's like, what do you want?
That's true. Price is always not indicative of the value.
Yeah.
But photos, cameras are expensive, right?
Mhm.
What an average camera? What's
Man, it's been so long
boy.
since I bought one, but my camera was just the body alone, no lens, was $2,500. So,
yeah.
the lenses kind of range between like $100 to $1,500, maybe a little bit more. Mirrorless cameras, they go for a lot more money, because the pixel quality, a lot of different aspects to cameras make them either cheaper or not so cheap. So it really just depends on what you're looking for when you're getting your camera, how quick you need a shutter speed. If you're doing sports, that's important to think about when you're buying a camera. So it just depends on that. But I mean, I've invested a lot of money.
I bet you have. Yeah.
My light
So,
kit's probably
Lenses,
$2,500
right?
alone.
Lenses too, right?
So how do you get around? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Not that I'm cheap, but I listen. I've got a Canon camera at home, so I could do this. How do you get around that? That aspect of your business, because same thing, why do I need a realtor to do this? I could just FISBO this thing, right?
Do the
So I'm
deal
sure
with the
right?
home buyer.
Yeah,
right.
right. So how do you How do you get around that?
It's a lot of the times it's kind of like you got to let somebody fail and do it. And if they don't want to hire you and then they make the mistake, then they come back to you. I've had a few incidences where I've had someone contact me about photography services and they're like, sorry, thank you. And then I've seen their pictures that they've gotten. And then I'm like, all right, well, you got what you paid for. And then they'll call me back and be like, hey, so I got these photos taken and, I know that we didn't work together, but like, do you think you could do anything? Because they're just the quality, the lighting. And I'm like, no, we needed a whole nother photo shoot. So now you just wasted your money. And
my mom cut my hair. Can you fix it? Whoa.
So when you're
there you go. Now we got
There it is.
okay, I kind of knew it a little.
All right, here we go. Of course, that can only mean one thing this time. If you left a message, it's time for a call back.
There you go, Kevin. Call back here. And we do call back.
Call back.
Hey, it's Freedom Friday, so break the chains of whatever's binding you today. We're talking about rent. If you're a renter and you're looking to get out of that rental and start owning something and earning some equity,
Yes.
now's the time to do it. If your lease ends in May, June, July, now's the time to start looking because it'll take 60 days and then you won't have a payment for at least 30 days, maybe 45 to 60 days. But make sure you set yourself up for success. Make sure you got some money in the bank and you have a down payment. There is no free ride. You hear about these no money down buying houses. It doesn't exist essentially. And if it does, you're going to be sorry in the long run. But so make sure you set yourself up for success. Talk to your lender, have a few bucks in the bank. And if you don't have a $500 emergency fund after you buy the house, then you probably should rent for another year. And I hate to say that as a realtor, but it's sometimes it's not the time to buy. You can always check out Dave Ramsey at Ramsey Trusted.
Well, and I think that's a big thing, right, Kevin? Is right now we've heard a lot of, oh my gosh, don't buy rent. However, rents are starting to go up.
Yeah. It's crazy how significant of a increase I've seen over the last couple of years.
Oh my gosh.
And it's hard to budget for that when you're getting close to maybe renewing and all of a sudden your landlord goes, well, we're going to increase it by 50%. I've seen those. We've talked to people that have happened. That's happened to. Here's a nice thing. You own your own place. And your payment's going to be locked in, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, your taxes are going to go up every year.
And I feel like
Uncle
too,
Sam's
but your PITI will be locked in.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the rentals even in general are hard to find right now.
Very hard to find.
They ask for 2-3 months deposit.
Yeah.
And they're looking for multiple years.
And that's your down payment to get a house.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Before you tell your landlord you're not going to renew, take a look and see what prices are out there for other stuff and where you want to live.
Right.
What have you.
And now we are seeing the inventory grow a little. Yes.
A smidge, We're still.
I didn't say a lot.
I
I
know
know.
it's
Little
starting.
baby.
If you're looking to sell, man, call me because we got buyers waiting in just about every area to buy it. It's crazy, and the value is good too. You're getting good prices for your house, and it's a good time to buy investment property because rents are up too.
That's right. It's a good time to own.
Oh,
Good time
and
to own, that's for sure.
we rent. I moved back home with my parents, and they've been, I think it's 12 years we've lived there renting. And I'm like, I did the math, and I'm like, guys,
Wow.
what are we doing? But our landlord just hired our rent significantly, it's when you take a look at that, it's like, wow.
So one of the things we like to do on the Neighborhood Pulse, of course, is we like to teach. We like to always have a teaching moment. What is a tip that you could give a novice that maybe has just the iPhone or maybe even just a little Canon or something like that to help them? Yeah.
Ooh, tip.
Just a tip. Don't give away all your secrets, but
right.
Think about the other person and not yourself. So something that you may like might not be what they like. Right. So provide your client with something that they want, not what you want.
Interesting.
I used to do where I never sent pictures to my customers. I picked it for them. And they would contact me and be like, well, what about that one photo where my kid was laughing and it was so cute? And I'm like, it's not a really good photo. But in their eyes, it was. So I stopped doing that. And now I allow them to pick their pictures. And so I think, what you see is different from what you see from what I see. And so,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's eyes gravitate differently. I might like a headshot of you, but you like a different one. So providing your customer with more and allowing them to be the person that actually picks their pictures, I think
Right.
is probably key.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's where, you know, having that interview process helps, whether you're talking to someone about buying a house or what they can budget for
Mhm.
buying a house, or getting to know them better to see, you know, what they're into. And that kind of helps you there to kind of just say, hey, they might like these versus before then.
Exactly.
Nice.
So how much extra would you charge to make my mug look good?
So I actually professionally edit all of my pictures. So it's built in my pricing. So
Awesome.
there we
you
go back to pricing. When you look at mine and you're like, woo, I'm actually pretty value priced. I mean, I will tell you that most people tell me I charge not enough. Not enough. And, you know, but I'm also there to build relationships. I understand that not everybody is a millionaire, and there's a lot more that I get from my pricing than I do just making a dollar. I know that.
Is there an average, like if somebody's going to get a headshot, like an average, like what they should look to pay?
Depends how big their head is.
Yeah. And it really, I think location
Your
is
head can't get through
Kevin,
the door.
you-
Way
Gotta
too
get
much.
gotta get the wide angle lens for this one.
I'd say location's a big thing too. You know, like obviously you go towards the city, prices are a little bit higher. People will charge more. I think experience and things like that also make a big difference. And so,
Supply and demand, right?
yeah, I mean, my headshots, I do have a package. It's like 4 headshots for $185.
That seems cheap, right?
I you know, I'm good with what I do. So,
There you go.
but I also have but headshots is also very broad. You know, like, do you want branding? Do you want just a standard headshot in front of a white wall? Like, there's a lot of different things that I think people don't realize that are broke down. So like, that's a basic package. Now, if we're adding on and you want it to be lifestyle and you want to be out and about doing your pictures on scene or behind a desk in your office, like costs get added onto that as
So
you go.
have you had to get in like weird positions or climb a tree or
yeah, no.
something like that?
I actually, fun
Stalker.
story. We went to Colorado and there was, I mean, it's no getting attacked by a
Mountain
mountain
lion.
lion.
Right.
But we went to Colorado and there was this really awesome moose. And I'm like, I need this picture.
Oh, I love moose.
And I didn't have a really good lens to zoom in. And so I basically got very close to this moose. And people outside are like, can I swear on here?
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, shut up. This is why I'm going to die. Like, stop.
Right.
But basically, I got super close to this thing, stuck his tongue out at me, like looked up, and I was like, now I got to run for my life.
That's
And
right.
So
You weren't going to outrun that. Those things are monsters.
Did he come at you? or
No, not at all. But I mean, in those moments,
No,
it's
she
like,
took its picture. Thanks.
I'm like, I took a risk. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
If I die today, at least I died doing
Is
something
that
I
on there or
loved.
no? Is that up there?
I might have it underneath my
I want to see the
nature.
moose.
And the moose is like,
My
hey, mail
nature
me a
section.
Yeah,
copy.
so
over.
I've got and here's the deal: is that she's so good at what she does. She also has art for sale and things like that. She's got a store online at kadamsphoto.com. But just outstanding. I got some pictures up there. These look like some floral pictures. But again, it's just, you know, the amazing thing is your eye, is your talented artistic eye to be able to say right here, right? So that moose,
Right here, yes.
moose is like my spirit animal. I absolutely love moose, and they're huge.
I mean,
People
they're
don't understand.
massive. Yeah.
Their back
Yeah.
stands like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, it was actually pretty intense
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
one in person because you're like, oh my gosh, this is like triple the size of me.
Yeah. I was out in Colorado when I came across a moose in a Jeep, and it was taller than the Jeep.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
I love hippos, and I don't know if you guys watch hippo videos, but
I
like
love hippos.
they fly through the water so quick, and I never knew that about them. And if you look up like hippos chasing boats, it's crazy how fast these things can come up behind you, and you don't.
They
think
fly,
it,
yeah, they move.
You know, because they're big. You know, how do you move that quick?
Right.
But
That's all you want for Christmas?
Yeah.
I want a
Alligators with your little
hippopotamus
legs.
for Christmas. Never mind.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's real estate show. So we should probably talk a little bit about real estate.
Ah,
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
So taking pictures of buildings, framing them out, things like that. What are some of the things you look at when you're looking at the exterior of a house, curb appeal, things like that? What's the things that you're kind of looking for? Are there things
Distance
that
or, you know?
You know, definitely like I think people love curb appeal. So like
Absolutely.
showing like kitchens are big, you know, front of the house are big. They're like the little things that make a house, I would say, are like colors of your shutters. And, you know, like that helps. I think people love like different doors, unique doors, or doors that are, you know, maybe blue or things like that. I think people are more visual nowadays. So more visual the house. What does your porch look like? Do you have a fence in your yard, or do you have a swing on your porch? Like anything that kind of like that, I think helps my job when it comes to photography, because it just makes the picture better because the house is better, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
like, I think one thing I don't see much right now when I look at homes is you'll see a picture of the yard, but it's from like the front of the house all the way back.
Yeah.
And then from all the way there, all the way back, instead of just capturing what makes your yard
yes,
that can be, you know, your new place.
Exactly.
This is where we have our fire pit, and there's a nice picture around there.
Yes, agreed. And like ponds, some people really like ponds, some people don't, but having a nice picture,
even trees.
Yeah, of different trees, and showing it more close up, I think in certain aspects like that are really important, because if you have a nice fireplace and you're a big outdoors person and you like, you know,
characters that,
the little,
you know,
exactly, the little things that kind of make a bigger impact.
Right. Now, when you do interior pictures of rooms and things like that, do you bring any lighting with you, or is your flash? I mean, you guys got these flashes that are just amazing.
Right.
Depends on the home. If it's a very low lit house, the lighting's not the greatest,
Older
or
homes, right?
basements where you don't have a lot of windows, adding those lighting is key, because otherwise you get a lot of grain in pictures. And so that's something that just makes it look not as crisp.
Right.
And you can fix those things post process, but it always looks better if you can fix it, obviously, with lighting. And so I definitely think it's important to bring ring lights, or bring lights that you can put in the corners that you won't see, so you can fill in those spaces that you want to fill in.
It's amazing how those ring lights have really progressed and just got so popular. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's something.
You have one of those or not?
No, not yet.
Like
But
just the mood in here.
I accept gifts as well.
That's right.
And it's not my birthday.
Send them to Kevin.
It's gonna be her
Kovac.
birthday in
Give me the
March.
agent.
Care of 2169.
Hey, Ted up there saying, "Hey, y'all."
That's it.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, I had a great question. Oh, multi-layer. Do you do like the same picture at different exposures?
So that's kind of something I talked about, HDR. So that's like what the terminology I would say is for it, right? HDR. And if there's a photographer out there that thinks that that's not the right one, I'm pretty sure that's correct. But but yeah, so you can, a lot of people do that with outdoor shots, because sometimes it's hard to expose for like the sky at the same time as a house. So like if you have the sun behind the house, your house is going to be dark, but you can, you know, so the sky will look good, but then you need the house to be well lit. So you do find a lot of people that will do HDR or layered images like that, so that they can make sure that they've got the stages, the back, the front, you know.
That I never knew why.
Yeah.
Here's something to think about.
Why?
Is when you were a kid and you made a painting for your mother, when you were in kindergarten, it was awesome. When you hit 20, you look back and go, "What the was that?" Right? That is why you need to have a professional like Kelsey Adams help you market your business and take photos of your properties that you're looking to sell or find, because you might take one with your iPhone and go, "Man, that's great," and then it gets out there online, and now you're the 20-year-old person going, "What the heck was that?" Right?
And it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like as a younger, I'm like, man, I was so fat, and then I look back at my pictures, I'm like, I wish I was that fat again.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because you're not. So it does. And say you relist the home and you can use those photos again for purposes.
Yep.
And then you're like, wow, I don't want to reuse that picture.
Right.
That's not a very good photo, but you at first thought it was. And
Sure.
you know, there's a lot of pictures I've taken that I've gone back and been like, man, why didn't I ever use this? It comes out of the, you know, the cobwebs, because I'm like, this is a good picture. But at the time I'm like, it's okay. So yeah, definitely.
So when you're getting ready to list your home, make sure you call a realtor that is using a professional photographer.
Yes.
Using things like Matterports and drones and virtual walkthroughs and all this other crazy stuff, because they have the equipment, the supplies, that they've spent that thousands and thousands of dollars to make sure that when they come to your house, it's going to look amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, think about the value that it adds for the person that's selling it. I mean, maybe it'll triple your how much money you make, or how many people are bidding on the house. And
I think
For
a picture
sure.
can make a big difference.
yeah,
The attention that it'll get.
we're visual people, so
Absolutely.
it's
We are.
definitely necessary.
All right.
Pictures
That
get 'em
music means that we're right on the
Pictures
back
get 'em
end of
in,
this. Kelsey, if people want to know what you do, how they get in touch with you.
Oh, you can reach me on my website at www.kadamsphoto.com, or you can give me a call, 815-276-9272.
That's it. And of course, if you're looking to buy or list a home, you're going to reach out to Mr. Callback at
708-277-3913 or KevinCallbackGroup.com.
And of course, if you need to buy money to buy the house or to pay for the photos, you're going to reach out to Mr. Martinez where?
Yes, 815-331-6428, NMLS 437138.
All right, everybody come
Professional
back
going
right at 3 p.m. for In the Know with Steph and Joe. Good stuff going on. Thanks for getting caught in the net. Like, follow, subscribe, all of our social medias out there. We're looking for 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So jump on and help us out. For all of us here, 21.6 The Net, thanks for getting caught in the net. Be good to each other.
Amen. Freedom Friday.